Before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because stories like this deserve to be remembered, discussed, and understood beyond headlines. What happened to David, Stringbean Akeman, was never just another crime. It was a moment that quietly shattered an entire era of country music, trust, and innocence. Even decades later, there's something deeply unsettling about how ordinary that night began and how violently it ended. People have whispered theories for years, wondering how kindness became vulnerability, how routine became a weakness, and how two lives built on simplicity were taken for almost nothing. David Stringbean Akeman was born on June 17, 1915, in Annville, Kentucky, into a world where survival depended on grit and patience. His father played banjo at local dances, and music wasn't entertainment, it was community. When David traded a prized bantam chicken for his first banjo at just 12 years old, no one could have guessed that small exchange would shape American music history. The Great Depression struck as he entered adulthood, forcing him to leave school and join the Civilian Conservation Corps, working long days building roads and planting trees across Tennessee. Those years carved something permanent into him, a belief that security could disappear overnight, and that money was safest when kept close, not trusted to systems that could fail without warning. By the late 1930s and early 1940s, David found his way onto small stages, playing barn dances and entering talent contests wherever he could. It was during one of these performances that Sam Martin famously forgot David's last name and called him Stringbean because of his tall, skinny frame. The nickname stuck so completely that even close friends eventually stopped calling him David at all. In the mid-1940s, he joined Bill Monroe's Bluegrass Boys as their first banjo player, helping shape what would become bluegrass music. Though Earl Scruggs later took over the banjo role, Stringbean never faded. Instead, he carved out his own lane, blending comedy with music in a way that felt effortless and deeply human. By the 1960s, Stringbean was recording steadily, performing comedy duos, and becoming a familiar face to fans across the country. In 1969, he joined the cast of Hee Haw, where his humor, honesty, and old-time banjo style made him unforgettable. Millions laughed at his jokes, but few understood the quiet fear he carried from his Depression-era upbringing. He never trusted banks. He never believed success was permanent. While others upgraded their lifestyles, Stringbean held tightly to routine and simplicity, believing that staying humble meant staying safe. He married Estelle Stanfill in 1945, and from the beginning, their relationship was built on loyalty rather than flash. Estelle was gentle, reserved, and shared the same cautious outlook on life. They had no children, but their bond was deep and unbreakable. Friends often said that seeing one without the other felt strange, as if something was missing. While other Opry stars moved into large homes, the Akemans chose a modest cabin on Baker Road in Ridgetop, Tennessee. It had no alarm system, no security, no fences. For decades, that simplicity felt like protection rather than risk. Stringbean's distrust of banks shaped the most dangerous habit of his life. He kept cash hidden throughout the cabin, behind fireplace bricks, under floorboards, inside envelopes, even tucked into clothing. No one knew the exact amount, but rumors spread fast. By the early 1970s, talk of hidden money followed him backstage, through town, and into places it never should have reached. What began as harmless chatter slowly became a map for the wrong people. The Akemans never imagined that whispers alone could paint a target on their quiet life. Their weekly routine never changed. Every Saturday night, they drove to Nashville for the Grand Ole Opry. Stringbean performed 2 shows, Estelle waited backstage, then they drove home along the same dark roads. It was predictable, comforting, and tragically visible to anyone watching closely. On November 10, 1973, that routine played out one final time. While Stringbean performed, 2 young cousins, John Brown and Marvin Douglas Brown, broke into the cabin, convinced it held a fortune. Frustrated by what they couldn't find, the men made a chilling decision. They waited. They turned the radio to WSM, listening for the Opry broadcast to end. Near midnight, the Akemans returned home. Stringbean sensed danger immediately and fired his small pistol, but the intruders were armed with stronger weapons. He was killed near the fireplace. Estelle ran, begging for mercy, and was shot outside near the car. By morning, both were gone. The discovery shook Nashville to its core. Grandpa Jones found them during a planned hunting trip. Investigators later found thousands of dollars still hidden inside the cabin, untouched. The killers had taken lives for money they never found. Arrests came quickly after Marvin bragged about stolen guns. Both cousins were convicted and sentenced to life. Decades later, one was paroled, reopening wounds that never healed. And years after that, hidden cash was discovered behind a single brick, proving the rumors true and the crime utterly pointless. Stringbean's death changed country music forever. Trust faded, doors locked, but his legacy remains, not in how he died, but in how he lived. So now, knowing the full truth, what do you believe should have happened with parole? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to click on another video waiting for you here.